Aloha, everybody. This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 245 on Spotify and YouTube. Hey, thanks for you guys to listening, watching the podcast. You know who you are, and any potential new viewers out there. And I just love talking about food, comedy, and sports. And there are. Ooh, was that a California earthquake? Um, California is known for earthquakes, so surprisingly, certain insurance companies don't cover earthquake insurance, so much less offer it or fire. To be anywho, um, on this episode 245, you know what? I kind of feel like talking about the San Diego Football Club, San Diego FC of Major League Soccer. Congratulations. Um, they made it to the final four of the Major League Soccer Cup playoffs. And what's cool is that the higher seed of every round gets to host the playoff game. And so now that Sango had hosted Portland in a two-game best of three, actually, best of three playoff series. Um, just just win each game, win two out of three, and San Diego FC did come out on top of Portland, although they played one extra game than they should have. But it is what it is. And so San Diego versus Portland, San Diego comes out on top. San Diego moves on. So then San Diego then plays Minnesota FC. So Minnesota, I believe, is the number four seed of the Western Conference, and San Diego is number one in the Western Conference. I watched it. I was over at Pitchers and Rancho Mosquitoes. Great food, great environment. Um, so I watched the game, and I'm glad that Pitcher shows the Sango FC games, and so if I need to watch them again, it's very close by, just down the street, and it's very convenient for me. And of course, having some good food and great service. Great service from people like Rochelle. Um, of course, there's Amin, and then overall great staff, overall great environment, um, great place to watch the UFC fights on Saturdays, and of course football on Sundays. Um, but yeah, honestly, um, so yeah, I was watching the game, and I'm with my buddy. Shout out to Stacey Allen, former pro wrestler, comedian. Um, we're watching the game, or mainly, mostly it was me. Um, Game was kind of a stalemate. I mean, both sides kind of stifled each other's offenses, and so the defenses made it really hard for anyone to get a real shot on goal. And there was a moment where I think Minnesota pretty much had the goal, but the San Diego defenders were fully aware. They the goalie was out of place and the ball was about to go into the net, but luckily the San Diego defenders got to the end line fast enough to block this runaway soccer ball going into the net, stop the goal from scoring. And what's even better was that the defender who did stop the ball from going in with his leg, He got up and he managed to not touch the soccer ball, because if you touch the soccer ball with your hands and you're not the goalkeeper, that's a penalty kick, automatic. But San Diego FC stayed resilient, made it really hard for anyone to score on them, and San Diego FC, they were able to have a few good chances. They got a lot of corner kicks, but there was one sequence, and this pretty much won Sang FC the soccer game. Ball was bouncing towards the end line. Um, One of the players, Sang FC, kicked the ball back with what looked like a back heel kick to pass it back to someone on Sang FC who just happens to be waiting just to kick a soccer ball. And it just so happens when the heel kick pass went back, and there was a player from the Sango FC who got the ball inside the the 20-yard box, 15-yard box, whatever it's called, and Dreyer, the number one scorer on Sango FC, was in there in the box and caught this heel kick pass, and Dreyer just kicks it with all his might, and it scores and goes into the back of the net, and Sango FC is now up 1-0. Um, Crowd went wild at bars, probably at the stadium as well, at Snapdragon Stadium. And the reality of Sango FC hosting the Western Conference Finals at Snapdragon Stadium is going to become a reality. And San Diego FC defeats Minnesota 1-0. So Saturday, November 29th, San Diego FC is hosting the Western Conference Finals against the number 2 seed of the Western Conference, the Vancouver Whitecaps. And these two teams have been pretty much flip flopping at 1 and 2 of the Western Conference, but San Diego FC, they had a strong end of season, and they ended up outlasting Vancouver for the number 1 spot in the Western Conference. And so, couldn't have thought of this any better. The two best teams in the Western Conference are going to fight for the chance to be in the MLS Cup final and fight for the championship. And what's great is that the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Union, they got ousted in the Eastern Conference semifinals by, I believe it's New York City FC. And Philadelphia, I believe, was the only team that was better in points than San Diego. They were better by 1 point. But guess what? With that being the case, San Diego now becomes the remaining like highest highest rated team left in the Final Four. So in any given matchup, whether it's the conference finals or the final, San Diego FC will host the home game. So on the other side, I believe we have Miami FC. They advance as well, who just so happens Miami FC defeated Cincinnati with Messi on the team, and it's New York City FC versus Miami FC. I believe Miami is hosting that Eastern Conference Finals, but should Miami and San Diego both prevail, the MLS Cup Final Championship is should be coming to San Diego. Um, December 6th. And I believe December 6th, the game will be played at 11:30 a.m. Um, which is great because UFC 323 is on the same day as December 6th, and I do want to watch both. And if they're separated by a few hours, that works a lot better for me. um, so hopefully, Sling FC pulls it out. I guess it doesn't really matter who's on comes out from the other side. But if Messi is on the other side of the ball, Miami versus San Diego would be pretty cool for a championship final. But first things first, take care of business. San Diego FC, Vancouver. I believe the game is at 6 p.m. Technically, I'm not going to be able to watch the game. I'm going to have to watch the scoreboard because I am going to WWE Survivor Series War Games. It's the first ever premium live event um, for this event, honestly, to be held at an outdoor venue. Because I think historically, Survivor Series, since 1987, I think, um, 1987, maybe 1988, it was always held inside a basketball or hockey arena. So, and those usually hold like 15 to 19,000 people. But guess what? San Diego with Petco Park holds at least 40,000 seats, and it could be more. We'll find out the official number, but I'm going to find out on Saturday because I'm going with my buddy Adam. Shout out to Adam. Yeet. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun event. Apparently, um, Brock Lesnar, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, um, Logan Paul, and Drew McIntyre are on one side of the men's War Games match, and on the other side you got the WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes teaming up with the World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk, and they are joined by the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, and they are also joined by the the original tribal chief Roman Reigns. That is quite the headliner main event of Survivor Series War Games. Um, but I have the feeling that the side with Brock Lesnar, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul, I think that side is going to win. Even though I think that the team with the two world champions should be winning, but I got a feeling that Brock Lesnar is going to push his team to the finish line and win the match. And who knows what might happen on Monday Night Raw. And I'm probably guessing that any of those five guys on Team Brock Lesnar, Team Vision, Team Drew, Team Paul Heyman, they're probably going to call for their title shot with either Cody Rhodes or CM Punk. And, well, that remains to be seen. Um, I believe there's the women's War Games. You got on one side Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee. That's quite an ensemble there on one side of the War Games for the women. And on the other side, you got Lash Legend, Nia Jax, um, Eos, Asuka, and Kyrie Sane, and Becky Lynch. So I want to say the team that's going to win that one is going to be AJ Lee, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. That one, that team should definitely win. Now, between the two War Game matches, I got a feeling that there's going to be a betrayal. It almost seems like it's set up to happen, but maybe none, maybe none. But if I had to guess, um, if I had to guess, it probably would be Brock Lesnar. I could see him betraying the whole team, but I could see Brock Lesnar doing it at the end of the match, like if they already won, and then he destroys everybody in the ring because now he wants his title shots from either Cody Rhodes or CM Punk. There can only be one, one king of the WWE. If there's, I mean, on the other side, okay, potentially I could see Cody Rhodes doing it. Um, but it seems more likely that Roman Reigns might be the one because, he is going after the championships. So Roman Reigns, I could see doing it, or Brock Lesnar. But Cody Rhodes is kind of a wild card too. Um, but yeah, and then I believe there's the Intercontinental Championship match between John Cena, the champion, who defeated Dominic Mysterio back in Cena's hometown in Boston. Now they're in Dom's hometown backyard in San Diego. I have a feeling that even though it's Dom's backyard, but I have a feeling that John Cena will still win this match and defend the title. And then it makes me believe that John Cena's final match in DC on December 13th on Saturday night's main event, that his last match, his retirement match, will be defending the Intercontinental Championship in that match. And whoever is going to face John Cena that night, my feeling is that the guy will beat John Cena and become the new Intercontinental Champion. And there are a few choices. Gunther is still in it. Solo Sokoa is still in it. LA Knight. Um, I guess a replacement for Sheamus. Um, I believe it might be The Miz. And then Rusev. But who knows? I'm thinking it's going to be either Rusev or Gunther. So it's going to be quite a culmination there. But then again, there's a chance for LA Knight and John Cena. And you never know. It's going to be fun. But yeah, I think that John Cena is going to beat Dominic Mysterio. Um, and then there's one more match that I think was advertised. It's I believe it's the women's world championship, and the champion Stephanie Vaquer. Um, she has been pretty dominant up to this point, and I'm such a fan of hers. She has a lot of great moves. She does have a signature move in the Devil's Kiss. um, but she's defending her title against Nikki Bella, who turned her back and attacked Stephanie Vaquer. So that should be quite a match. And but honestly, I think Stephanie Vaquer, she is gonna pull it out, stay the champion, defend the championship, defeat Nikki Bella, and then bring on another champion, another challenger to face her. So we'll see what happens. Um, I don't know if there's another match on the card, but I would imagine that you're looking at probably 3 to 3 hours, at most 4 hours for Survivor Series. So I believe they're going to start at 3:30 or 4 o'clock or something. So luckily, I found parking right in front of Petco Park. So when I park in the parking structure, I just get out of the parking structure and around the corner, there I am, the front gate of Petco Park. For only, I believe I only paid $17 or something for it. So $16, $17, great deal to be that close with my car. So, anywho, can't wait for Saturday. Um, oh, the Chargers are playing um, this Sunday. They just had a bye week. They got destroyed before going into their bye week by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gotta say, without much of an offensive line, um, it was really hard for the Chargers to keep up, and they got annihilated. I believe the score was 35-6. Jacksonville Jaguars over the Chargers. So as you can see, I have a new Chargers cap, and I can't wait to sport my new stuff for the Chargers game. I'm actually going up to SoFi Stadium for my second Chargers game. It'll probably be my last one for the year, for the season. But I am bringing some good friends. I'm bringing my good friend Erin Gonzalez, comedian here in San Diego. I think she's going to bring her talented musical daughter, Araceli, plays the guitar, great voice, and she's going to bring her other daughter, an aspiring hairdresser, um, Anahi. So it'll be kind of fun going up with some great company, and it's going to be a good football game. I believe my section is 537, fifth level of SoFi Stadium, but it just so happens that I got the front row of the section, and I believe we're between the 40-yard line, 50-yard line, so it's a great view. Can't wait to go. The game is at 125, so that should be fun. Um, oh, and the San Diego State Aztecs football team. They're doing pretty great right now. They are in first place in the Mountain West Conference. And the top two in the Mountain West are going to play each other in the Mountain West Conference Championship. And because San Diego State just needs to win this coming Saturday against New Mexico, who is also trying to get into the final as well. Um, San Diego State wins, they get to host it at Snapdragon Stadium on December 5th. So potentially, you could be looking at back-to-back days of Snapdragon Stadium hosting the Mountain West Conference Championship for football, and they could also be having the Sango FC hosting the MLS Cup Championship at Snapdragon Stadium as well. So, Mountain West Conference Championship, Major League Soccer Cup Championship, back-to-back nights, or back-to-back days. So Sango is going to be quite the place to be over the next 9 to 10 days. So, um, oh, let's talk about some comedy. So I had the pleasure of going to the Privateer Marketplace. It's a Tuesday night show in Oceanside hosted by comedian Heather Marie, and this was her what must have been the 5 year or 10 year anniversary of doing comedy at the Privateer. So kudos to Heather Marie for putting on some great shows and having a place for comics to work on their craft. and entertaining the masses of the privateer in Oceanside. Um, Great cheesecake, great pizza, great mahi mai taquitos. Um, yeah, a lot of great stuff with. Oh yeah, they have a really good privateer salad. I recommend. Mm, Also, they have a privateer burger. That one's pretty good too. All the food is good. mm, so yeah, great show. Heather Murray, she went up first. She's the host. She got to talk about her kids, being a mother. Um, Crowd, was kind of mixed between laughing at her jokes and sometimes it was kind of a little chill. I want to say that Heather Marie overall was a eight, 8 out of 10, and then we got an LA comic. First time seeing her myself. Her name is Lala. Um, she had some interesting jokes. She did talk about dating a guy that was like 14, 15 years older than her. Um, she has some fun jokes, but I did feel like the crowd was kind of chill. Um, I want to say that she was a 8 out of 10 for her comedy. And then we got Steven Briggs, great comedian, always a headliner. I saw him perform here in San Diego. He did a Zoom comedy show with Melissa Wiseman. Um, we always have a good rapport, and I really like Steven. He's a really cool guy. Um, he had like a lot of interesting jokes, and I think he had a lot of new ones too. So it was kind of cool hearing his new stuff. Um, he has very funny facial reactions, expressions, and he kind of utilized that in his comedy set. Um, yeah, of course, he did talk about dating during the set and his other experiences. Uh, and I talked about his mom or his family, and you know, for me, I was laughing a lot during his set. So um, I want to say Stephen Briggs 8.75. It was a really fun show. Um, there was another show I went to. Um, it was just 2 days later, November 13th. The Heather Marie show was on 11/11, November 11th. So the other show I went to, Alan Henderson was the headliner at the Madhouse Comedy Club, and he had Fedwan Somo as the host. He had some funny jokes. I always liked his joke about him talking about his dad and he got fired from the market. Um, Fedwan, he got some mixed reactions to his jokes. Um, I want to say Fedwan was probably an 8.2 out of 10. Dave Callens went up. Um, Dave, he talks about him, teaching. So he talks about the kids. Um, he had some also kind of mixed reactions to his jokes. I want to say he was an 8.3. Then we got Jen Lee. She talks about her weight loss, talks about dating. Um, she has some good jokes, and I felt like this probably was one of her better sets I've seen. I want to say that Jen Lee was a 8.3 out of 10. And then we got Ike. Um, his name is Ike Kazarian, Russian guy. He is the owner of Pushkin. Um, he had a lot of great jokes. Talks about his dating experiences, and man, he was the best one. I want to say that Ike was like a 9 out of 10. Next up, we have Bryce West. He was all right. He has some good jokes, and then some jokes didn't catch on too well with the crowd. He was like kind of an 8 out of 10. And then we got Taryn Heffley, super funny guy. Talks about being handsome, being a guy from the Midwest, um, being polite, talking about um, strategies of getting women, I think, or being a master at sex, um, stuff like that. So you got the crowd chuckling at times. Did pretty well. Taryn Heffley, 8.5 out of 10. And then you got your headliner, Alan Henderson. Always love his crowd work. You threw in some new jokes. That was pretty awesome. And the crowd was enjoying his set. So it's always an honor and pleasure to see Alan Henderson up there. So great guy. Um, Alan Henderson, I want to say he was 8.75 out of 10 for his comedy. So great stuff. Well, guys, that's it for me. Next time on episode 246, I'll talk about two other comedy shows. The one with P Man at the Poway Irish Pub, with headliner Rodrigo Rodriguez. And then we got another comedy show with Pretty Funny Women. That was last night at the La Jolla Comedy Store. And it just so happens I was in the green room, the famous green room of the La Jolla Comedy Store. That's pretty awesome. An achievement for myself because stepped foot in that special room, and then of course being in that special comedy club. So more to talk about. Um, so listen to me about more food, comedy, and sports. Enjoy the football games. Go Chargers. They should beat the Raiders by a lot and keep that playoff push going. And of course, I'm going to be watching WWE's Survivor Series War Games at Petco Park. That's going to be an awesome experience. Buy some new merchandise. Well, that's it for me, guys. Tiggy Maximus signing off. Shama, Sarah, Miedo, Tiggy Maximus, leaving you guys with a good weekend. Have fun with your turkey. And booyaka, baby. Alright, there, guys. Have a fun weekend. Be safe.